Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Do we know that humans, we catch over 1.5 trillion fish from the ocean every year on average, and another 100 billion fish that we farm and consume? Now, some of us were concerned about the ocean conservation and the environmental impact of this consumption. Other people, they may also concern the undesirable element that fall into a food supply chain when it comes to seafood, such as heavy metal and microplastic. What if now we can actually totally remove those risks and also produce more than 1 million fish fillet with just the cells from one fish? The solution is with us now. This idea is very similar to hydroponics. We take part of the fish or part of the plant and then develop that and grow that in a totally controlled environment. So we have a more stable supply of the output. It is also cleaner because we do not need to use pesticide, antibiotics, so on and so forth. In the next few decades, we will see this technology develop into a major supply of the meat supply market. It's going to grow to about 1 to 8 trillion, with about major section of that will be coming from kosher meat. So what we offer, a unique selling point among this and other alternative protein in the market, which is primarily plant-based, is that the flavor and the nutritional profile will be a lot more closer to conventional meat products. From an investment perspective, it's also a very good technology barrier. It is actually very similar to other deep biotech and medical development and startup. But however, we do not need to go through a very lengthy clinical trial. That means the time to market will be shorter. By using this biotech to address a larger market size when it comes to food, it will be also a bigger audience as well. So what exactly this technology platform that we're developing? We know that using animal as the machine to turn natural resources into meat is proven to be highly inefficient. It could be as low as 10 to 50%, and in all cases, not more than 20%. It's because the animal in the process will use a lot of energy to run around, to do a lot of other activities and not turning into meat. So imagine we can remove the middleman of the animal and feed directly the nutrients, which is, by the way, very similar to what human beings consume, such as these, vitamin, mineral, etc. We directly feed it to the cell. Given the right condition, they will also grow into the muscles and animal protein we want. So from day zero, we have a small number of cells. And then in about a month's time, we can actually harvest the product that we want. Compared to traditional aquaculture, growing a fish from fry to the size we can consume is roughly about a year. So it also drastically reduces the time as well. With the technology we have developed, we have already presented multiple prototypes, including fish fillet, such as this, and as well as fish mold, which is very targeting to the culinary culture of the Asian market, the swim bladder of fish, which is a delicacy in this part of the world. Using this technology, we can also harvest the very precious marine functional protein that can be used in topical products, such as skincare product, in serum, cream, etc. The company was started by two co-founders, me, myself, Kerry, business background, Dr. Maurichin, a very experienced researcher, is our CSO. We are also very happy to be joined by Alan Leung in our management team. The company size now has about 10 people, and as you see, we're growing very quickly in order to go to a next stage. We have a PhD, 4 of them in our science team, as well as other supporting scientific team member. What we're actually developing is an end-to-end platform to produce animal protein without the animal. In the back end, there are many different component parts. And then in the front end, we have many applications for food and non-food. This is very similar to bioprocesses we've been used to produce yogurt and beer, etc. All involve, a growing living population, feed them with the nutrient and giving the living environment they want, and then we produce the product we want. So to break it down, the core technology we have developed, including the cell line, that is the population, cell culture, which is the feed to the cell, the scaffold for the cell to grow on, as well as the bioprocess, the environment to keep the temperature right, the pH right, etc. Our product development line is actually growing. So we have a portfolio of cell line. In addition to grouper muscle cell, we also have snapper. We also have yellow croaker, fish mold cell lines. For the cost reduction, we have already reduced 90% from the beginning of R&D by removing one of the non-sustainable ingredient. We call that fetal bovine serum. We have already achieved that as of last year. On the scaffold side,
time is almost up. Please,
okay.
Please be quick now. Thank you.
Okay, so we also have the other part, which is scaffold and also the bioprocess. We will go to market as a branded ingredient under AV for co-branding, as well as a functional protein under cellulin. In the past few years, we have achieved major milestones we set out to establish. We are now in the scale-up process. We are supported by a number of international, very savvy investors. We have a pilot scale-up plan already ready to be implemented. We're the first one in Asia to work on the fish and the first one in China on this tech space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's get the questions from the judges.
Hi, Carrie. Thank you for the presentation. Hi, it's very timely if anyone watched Seaspiracy on Netflix.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I want to ask about kind of patent and relative to kind of the competitive landscape. How does your patent kind of differentiate or protect you against, the other cell-based meat companies out there?
Yes, so our patent strategy all evolve around the cost reduction. So in the community, we talk a lot about the cost reduction by replacing the fetal bovine serum, the cell culture medium. And we take actually multi-pronged approach. So in addition to making the substitute of the FBS even more bioactive, which is one of our PCT, we also address the cost reduction side of the, the other aspect by making the cell line more productive, which is our other PCT patent-pending solution. Last but not least, I think we are one of the few company who are actually in this space really putting our effort into improving the bioprocess. So the background information is that a lot of the machine that we use now, they are not optimized to produce meat. They are optimized to produce soluble protein from cells, such as vaccines and monoclonal bodies. And so what we have developed is something that we can reduce the medium consumption, reduce the cost, as well as, having a better structured product ultimately. So we are pretty unique in this space, in this part of the multi-pronged approaches to do the cost reduction and also the facilitating further bioprocess optimization. Not to mention the scaffold, we are actually develop our in-house secret recipe. We do not patent that, that we can achieve the fillet texture in a pretty satisfactory way.
Hi, Carrie. This is Thomas Chow here.
Hello.
I think we spoke
Thomas.
before. Good to see you.
Yes.
You didn't have much time to go over the competitor slide. I'd love to get your analysis of that landscape.
Yes, indeed. So this is a super simplified slide. What we see ourselves is that part of the technology that we have mentioned that, we build our particular technological barrier or niche in the way how we multi-pronged approach the cost reduction with our patent. And then on the other hand, we are actually very focusing on the consumer side of the market, because when we start, we see a lot of company, they are primarily in the Western culture. So a lot of the product will be very focusing on the Western style of the, the food consumption. So we are very focusing on the Asian and the Chinese food culture. And we see that it is very important to go to market. We also now see that one of the early go-to-market product, the fish maw, is really pick up a lot of excitement and interest from potential consumers. I think in that sense, we are a very market-driven and very product-driven commercially that help us to be very well suited to address the Asian market, which, by the way, is a very top, is a major seafood and fish consumption market in the world. 60% of this produce is actually consumed here. So I think we are very well positioned in that sense, and also unique in that way.
And so one could say, just to follow up on that. So I mean, Omnipork, for example, also tries to. They're not cell-based, but they also try to cater to the Asian market. So they have a lot of, I think they have a network of people in the retail consumer space, the restaurants. What do you have in terms of your commercialization strategy to outreach for those kind of outlets?
Yeah, so they are, for example, well, in the short term, the first product is actually non-food. I would briefly mention the reason why. We have already submitted our first dossier application to the SFA. However, it will still take about a year before we get the license to sell. So we actually try to de-risk and early bring forth the revenue a bit earlier by doing non-food products. So this is a smaller trading volume. Before we have a very big factory, we can already take up very meaningful, order for that. This will be very international. Already ship out a lot of samples to, multinational distributor of chemicals. You talk about the food supply, and so there are actually a couple of companies, including one in Singapore. We are in very close discussion with. They already producing a lot of ready to heat up and ready to cook kind of meal. They show a very strong interest into working together on some pilot product. So that will be one of these companies. The other, we also receive inquiry from restaurant group in Hong Kong before Chinese New Year to get the supply. So I think that there will be multiple ways. One is directly to food services. There's definitely very strong interest there. The other, we do have a couple of target in the picture that we can actually also distribute in the more fast-moving goods. Also, one of our investor is actually they do PTG food. They also do prepare meal and half prepare kind of meal product. So that's also one of the potential partners when our production is of that scale.
Can you talk a little bit about cost? Where is cost now when you go to market in this new pilot plan, and also kind of the capex for the next phase?
Yeah, so for the cost, I think most of the time we talk about the cost of material or the direct material cost. At the moment, we are actually slightly under $100 per kg for the biomass. Without the scaffold, the dilution in terms of the cost. So that is what we have achieved scientifically. And so we see that as we scale up, this number will further improve. And we're also swapping the pharmaceutical grade ingredient by food grade ingredient that will help us to really go below 50 and more. And so that is the what we are targeting now. The other is that the capex that you asked about, we already, for example, based on very small, several thousand, under 5,000 square feet kind of capex, it is roughly about 2 million, 3 million US dollar. The major part of actually coming from the facilities, maintaining the operating kind of environment. And then, of course, all of the machine going into there. So we've done a very high level kind of quotation and pricing for that. That will allow us to do a small scale production based on that number.
Thank you very much. Carrie, as you know, we have a very tight schedule. So we will talk to the next startup very soon. So again, thank you, and we'll get back to you, of course.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.